Hello, and welcome to Delve Presents The After Credits Scene. The discussion for the next few weeks will be Delve's Comic Book Cove and the topic, DC Universe Rebirth and the DC Rebirth titles. When we discussed DC Universe Rebirth back in May, we were excited for the changes that this event would bring to the DC Universe. Little did we know just how these changes would take place. Let me start by saying that for the most part, I was wrong about what Rebirth was. It is not a new restart for the DC Universe. Rather, it is the beginning of a new direction for the characters. Instead of happening all at once, DC Universe Rebirth lays a very solid foundation for where we have been and where we are going. Needless to say, spoilers ahead for DC Universe Rebirth Issue 1, Batman Rebirth Number 1, and Superman Rebirth Number 1. What can I say about DC Universe Rebirth Number 1 but wow? Anytime you open a DC issue and see lightning in the sky, it usually means something pretty dramatic is about to happen. A few pages in, we see Batman watching reports of the missing, who we now know is dead, Superman, as well as a recent report of Joker being apprehended when lightning crackles in the cave and Wally West of the post-crisis DC Universe appears. As great as a moment this is, it is cut short by the realization Batman doesn't know who Wally is. Since the aftermath of Flashpoint resulted in a change to the timeline to the New 52, this Wally was erased from existence, as well as changes to the past and present within the DC Universe. Time is the recurring theme in the story, and as Wally is drawn back into the Speed Force, something is left in the Batcave, in which we will find out later what it is. Wally tells the tale of his life before Flashpoint. We see past events that the New 52 did away with, which leads us back again to time, being changed after Flashpoint, or was it manipulated and stolen? 10 years have been taken from the DC Universe, which created the New 52. Wally is trying to find the anchor that will bring him back to the universe for good. We then see different characters, some familiar and not so familiar situations. This chapter ends with Pandora, who helped create the New 52 universe, getting disintegrated by an unknown person. I'm skipping over some points in this issue, but trust me when I say that seeing Wally and Barry reunite was the second biggest moment of the story. And what is the first? Batman finding the button in the Batcave and the reader learning that somehow Dr. Manhattan and the Watchmen are somehow responsible for time being stolen and infecting the DC Universe. After I read this issue and had my WTF moment out loud, I read the issue again, picking up on story elements I may have missed. I was excited for this issue and event. After reading this, I am even more excited to see how this plays out. With future plot points established in this issue, it's going to be 1 to 2 years before we see a payoff of them. In the meantime, I will enjoy the stories being told. With that, it's on to Batman Rebirth Number 1. It's very low-key story and tone, but it reaffirms what makes Batman so great. I'm not too familiar with Duke Thomas, the character that we see coming to Wayne Manor in the beginning. Doing some research, I found he had a history with Batman in the New 52. This issue revolves around the changing of seasons and time. The Calendar Man is using a machine to manipulate the weather of Gotham, to speed up the changes in seasons and activate these deadly spores. Batman stops the Calendar Man, and with Thomas Duke as an ally, he finds and blows up the machine. The scene with Lucius Fox and Bruce Wayne, who just happens to be hanging out, drives home one of the recurring themes of the Batman mythos, and I feel, of the Rebirth Initiative, hope. No matter how many times a situation repeats, he gives people hope, and that is why he does it. When Duke and Batman go to destroy the weather device, Duke gets worried because Batman said with water at this temperature, oxygen tanks are useless, so he figures he has about 4 minutes in the cold water with no air before his heart gives out. Of course, Batman is under the water for 6 minutes and manages to blow up the device, but in the process, he almost gives Duke a heart attack. The story concludes with Calendar Man rebirthing in a new body and saying it's not over. He has been rehatched with the changing seasons, possibly better than before. Bruce Wayne and Duke are outside training when Duke asks him how are they supposed to combat someone who comes back better every time. Bruce Wayne simply says, easy, we come back better each time too. Like I said, the story was low-key in terms of action, but had a great tone and reaffirms the drive and determination of Bruce Wayne Batman. Superman Rebirth #1. Out of all the Rebirth titles announced, the Superman line was the one I was most excited about. For one, I never had a connection with the New 52 version of Superman. That depiction of Superman seemed too arrogant. He wasn't the Superman I grew up with. DC had planned to kill off New 52 Superman and have modern age Superman, the one from the Death of Superman storylines and recently before Flashpoint, fill in the loss left by the New 52 Superman. How do I explain this? Well, think different universes. The best way I can explain it is different universe, time travel. Think Star Trek and Spock Prime, timey-wimey. Rather, just don't think about it, read it. It makes more sense that way. This issue recaps how Modern and 52 briefly met, and in the ultimate sacrifice, 52 Superman dies while defending the planet. Since this happened to Modern Superman before, and he came back to life, wouldn't it only make sense that 52 Superman could come back too? And that is the story. Modern Superman going to 52's memorial to get his remains. He plans to keep them safe while he figures out a way to resurrect them. At the same time, Lana Lang is inside the tomb to get 52 Superman's remains to keep a promise, burying them next to his Earth parents in Kansas. When Modern and Lana Lang meet up, Modern explains how he died at the hands of Doomsday and came back to life. So if he could, then this world Superman can as well. When Lana asks how that happened, Modern tells her about a Kryptonian artifact called the Regeneration Matrix that was in the Fortress of Solitude. Lana says she knows the location of the Fortress of Solitude. So Modern, hesitantly, takes Lana to the world's Fortress of Solitude in search of the Regeneration Matrix. At the fortress, while the robots search for the Matrix, Modern and Lana come across the Crystal Font, a library of all the accumulated Kryptonian knowledge. Recognizing Modern's Kryptonian DNA, a message plays. It is from 52 Superman to this world Supergirl, saying, if she is watching this message, he is dead and she is the last Kryptonian, and watch over this planet. Seeing this message makes Modern realize that this world Superman is truly gone, and he isn't coming back. He takes Lana to Kansas, where she can bury 52 remains with his Earth parents. Back at the Fortress of Solitude, Modern is putting the finishing touches on his own memorial to 52 Superman. When he is finished, he says, all that tomorrow is missing is Superman. I really liked this issue. It paid homage to past Superman storylines while giving the New 52 Superman a proper send-off. It was the closing of one chapter and a return of a legacy character that has been missing for far too long. I am curious on how the older, more experienced Superman will fit in this world. Will he be openly welcomed, or will he have a hard time earning their respect and trust? And let's not forget that this Superman and Lois Lane have a kid named Jonathan, whose powers are starting to develop. Excellent start to the Rebirth saga, beginning with DC Universe Rebirth #1. Batman gives us a slowdown moment with Batman Rebirth #1, and Superman Rebirth #1 closes a chapter on the New 52 Superman, while laying the groundwork for Modern Superman's proper return. Let me know what you thought of these issues. Leave comments on our Facebook and/or YouTube. Until next time, keep reading.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.